From the beginning of physical violence, people have been trying to protect themselves.
Whether it's from a rock, arrow, spear, sword, bullet, or bomb, anything moving fast enough can be deadly for whomever is unfortunate enough to be struck by it.
The earliest wars and battles were typically won by superior numbers, and anything keeping men alive on the battlefield was, and still is, every general's goal.
The ancient Romans were almost typically outnumbered, but their armor, equipment, and tactics allowed them to survive despite the odds.
The first armors were nothing but hides and leather, then metals when that wouldn't work anymore. Early warfare shows that weapons and armor would leapfrog each other until the development of the musket.
When the musket was developed, knights and their expensive armor became obsolete. It was cheaper and more effective to give some grunts no armor in a musket, and that effectively doomed heavy cavalry.
From basically there until the modern age, the only people wearing armor are the cavalry. Their helmets and breastplates are only really decorative against projectiles, but they retain their effectiveness against slashing and stabbing weapons.
Fast forward to a more modern age. In 1998, Congress decided that the number of law enforcement officers killed would drastically decrease had they been given an armor vest of some sort.
The FBI found in a study that the risk of fatality for law enforcement officers not wearing a vest is 14 times higher than those of their counterparts.
Since police and sheriffs have only been wearing body armor for a short period of time, there isn't much to cover in its development over the last 20 years.
To quote a body armor manufacturer that preferred to stay anonymous due to corporate reasons, the story on the history of body armor is like the history of TVs or computers. They used to be heavy, big, hard to move around. Now they're all lighter, thinner, and stronger.
Dr. Goodfellow in Tombstone 1881 noticed something odd during an autopsy. Goodfellow saw that a bullet was stopped by a silk handkerchief, but unfortunately for him, his attacker shot more than once.
Our source told us that today they're still making it based on that same premise, using materials that are weaved and layered that's job is to stop a bullet from penetrating.
For this video, we interviewed some veterans of law enforcement, and here are some things they have to say about it. Can you state your name and how long you've been in law enforcement?
My name is Tracy Reeves, and I've been in law enforcement 20 years.
Officer Mark Dunham. I've been in law enforcement 8 years now.
For 20 years total. I started out in 1994 at Polk Correctional Institute, which is a prison, and then from there I went to Polk County Sheriff's Office where I served as a drill instructor to disadvantaged youth and troubled youth. And then in 1997 I started my career in law enforcement and retired in 2013.
How familiar are you with body armor?
I wear it daily.
Really? Okay.
Very familiar. We wear it on a daily basis.
Well, as far as the history of it, not real familiar with the history of it. I know it's made of Kevlar. It's lighter weight than what it was when I first began. But as far as wearing it and seeing how it can help save lives, I definitely have good ideas of how it works.
Well, wait. We've heard the word Kevlar before, but don't know what it means. Kevlar is a para-aramid synthetic fiber, and it's used in a ton of things other than just body armor, from bicycle tires to racing sails.
Kevlar can stop a bullet due to its molecular structure. Kevlar molecules look like a long, twisting coil, and when they're woven securely, the fibers and molecules resist the projectile from going through them.
How do you feel about the weight of it?
It's a lot. It doesn't breathe at all, so you're just kind of carrying around this thing that doesn't let any air through or any air out, so it feels like you're suffocating half the time.
The weight has gotten much lighter since I started, and they've actually started making female vests. So they're cut a little bit differently for females than they are for men. But yeah, the weight of them has gotten lighter over the years.
Do you know how body armor has changed for you?
I know over the years it's gotten lighter. It's very uncomfortable, so they've tried to make it a little better for us when we wear it.
When I first started in law enforcement, it was more geared towards the male figure, so a little bit more difficult to wear if you're a female.
What did she mean by that? Women make up 15% of law enforcement, and some companies somewhere realized that they didn't have body armor that fit women to their unique needs. Men's body armor only have 6 standard measurements, whereas women have 9. By having more measurements, the company has a better idea of the third dimensional fit, and they can custom make their body armor for their waist and cup size. The National Institute of Justice has many requirements for ballistic vests, and unfortunately, this makes the body armor heavier, hotter, and just overall uncomfortable for female officers. How did you feel to wear the body armor?
I always looked at it this way. I'd rather be hot than have hot lead come through me. Yes, it's uncomfortable at times. Yes, it can be hot, but if it saves you from getting a bullet inside, I would rather be hot than have a hot bullet inside me.
So for me, because I've been wearing it so long, if I put my uniform on, I feel weird without it. It is very constrictive. I wouldn't even know what to compare it to for a civilian that doesn't normally wear it. It's just very constrictive and holds everything together.
Do you feel secure with the amount of protection it provides?
I do. I know the ones that they issue us is only for hand rounds. It'd be nice. You could put a plate in it for rifle rounds or something, but there's a chance for ricochet. So I like the fact that I have it for mainly all handguns. Not a lot of people carry rifles around, but it'd be cool if like they gave you something that you could just throw in there real quick. But they issue you just the handguns.
So would you say you trusted the protection that it provided?
I did. I wore it every single day, and the only times that I wouldn't wear it was when I was sitting at a desk working at a desk job.
You can never feel real secure because the caliber of weapons that are out there nowadays and just the ammunition that's out there can be body armor piercing, and it can get through. So you can never really feel comfortable with it. I say the main reason that we wear this is not necessarily for bullets, but it's for those physical confrontations that you get into when somebody wants to punch you or kick you. At least you have a little bit of protection between your body and them.
Can you tell me about the different types of body armor officers use?
Depending on what part of law enforcement you're on, like a regular law enforcement officer, I believe they wear a stage 2 or stage 3 body armor, which will stop, or at least hope to stop, small arms, such as a 9mm or 45, some type of small arms pistol. The more SWAT style will help prevent possibly a rifle, like a 30-06 or 308, to be able to wear to stop those, an assault rifle. So there's different stages of body armor. Most officers wear about 2 or 3 for street armor.
Stages. According to our source, there are 4 types of body armor. Starting with 1 and 2, or also known as concealable body armor, is what we call soft body armor, or soft ballistic panel. That type of armor will only stop handgun rounds and shotguns.
Then we have level 3 and 4 plates, which unlike 1 and 2, stops most rifle rounds, but 4 will stop the bigger and the faster rounds.
How do you feel about the advancement?
It's advanced a lot. My first ideas of body armor was back in 1997 when I started. They weren't sized for me. They just went to the bag, grabbed me a body armor, said, here, this is your bullet resistant vest. I never say bulletproof because it's not bulletproof, it's resistant. And it didn't fit. Nowadays, they're fitting armor to your specifications. They come out and measure you. It's a lot more lighter weight. When I first began wearing it, it was huge, it was bulky, it was heavy, it was hot. And now the advancement in body armor with the Kevlar and the weaving in it it's really lightweight. One of my most favorite ones that I had, I could ball it up into a ball and then turn around and put it back on, and it was just very light and flexible. I really enjoyed that body armor.
Have you ever been thankful to be wearing it?
Yeah, there's been some calls where people have had guns, and I thought a guy was going to pull a gun. It was a home invasion robbery. He just broke into an elderly guy's house, stole his wallet. The old man tried to pull a gun to defend himself. The guy took the gun, and I just happened to be at the back door while all this was happening. The guy comes out, he's got the gun on him. I'm drawing down on him, and I thought I was going to get into a gunfight. But my partner happened to show up at the last minute, and the guy thought twice about it. So I was thankful I was wearing it because I thought I was going to get in a shootout. So anytime where there's a gun involved, you're always, man, I'm glad I got this on. So, yeah.
And do you have anything else to add?
Just that it's important to wear. You actually wear it during the shift. I work in the office now, so I don't usually wear it in the office, but if I go in the field or I'm going to do something else, I'll wear it. I'll put it on. So yeah, it's very important. Always wear it.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Wear your body armor. If anybody's thinking about getting law enforcement, again, it's uncomfortable. It could be hot, but wear it. It could save your life someday. And luckily I've never been shot as far as in the job, but I had faith in that armor that it would work, and my wife always made sure I would.